Musashi Miyamoto vs Swordmasters, Baki like 3 times, an endless amount of police, Doppo, Retsu, Kendo Masters, Riot Squads, Goki, Yujiro Hanma, Pickle a few times, Gaia, Motobe, more police, Hanayama, let's go. Musashi's first fight in the series is a little strange but will be commonplace throughout them all. With his mind in the form of fear hacks, slashes this Swordmaster 7 times, leading into his want to fight the strongest this country has to offer. Next we have Baki meeting the legend, who views Musashi as someone made for destruction, pretty much a nuke on the Baki world you could say. And Musashi looking at Baki sees a field with various delicious dishes, created by several techniques that kept going for as long as the eye could see. Regardless, they of course want to fight each other. It begins with Musashi cutting Baki with his imagination, who responds by throwing a kick that Miyamoto easily counters by grabbing Baki's leg and demonstrating already his insane grip strength, proceeding to slam Baki on the ground in the same motion that you would swing a sword. This actually knocked Baki out for some time, so once again a dub for Musashi. Baki returns to see that he's doing some demonstrations and he actually wants a rematch, with Musashi responding with, "Aren't you supposed to be dead by now?" as he had many chances to kill Baki before he had awoken. Regardless, Baki throws a punch, his iconic super fast jab, dropping Musashi, with Baki now claiming that he would have died 3 times now, resulting in Musashi to begin getting serious and right away remind Baki of his father with this dance. They charge at each other, with Miyamoto coming out on top at first, with Baki feeling the pain and punching Musashi flying up, however falls unconscious from his cut, ending this fight. Once again, another dub for Musashi. After that, he takes out 2 random police officers, which continues throughout this entire arc, as Musashi is now wanted by the police. Eventually, Musashi returns to Tokigawa due to hunger, and finds Doppo Orochi there. Naturally, their fight is set up right away, with Doppo attempting a headbutt that is casually stopped by Musashi, understanding the power Doppo wields, unleashing his imagination swords, stunning him with the slice to land this direct blow. After Doppo eventually rises, he requests that Musashi uses a real sword. So yeah, Doppo charges again, this time with a flying kick that is dodged, and set himself up for this. Something that would have resulted in his death if Musashi wanted to. Regardless, Doppo is defeated. We have Retsu return from his overseas boxing, challenging the legend in the underground with weapons being allowed, having their first interaction before the main event. Retsu goes for a kick with his peg leg that Musashi grabs and snaps off, allowing Retsu to land a blow with his other leg, dropping Musashi and taking his leave to prepare for the real battle. Revealing at the end here that Musashi was awake. The arena is now fully set up for the fight. Retsu reveals his throwing knives that Musashi is able to dodge, block, catch and even slice, leading into the Chinese master to try a different approach, aiming to blind or distract Musashi. My man does move and takes the shot just to talk some shit. However, Retsu was ready, catching Musashi lacking and dropping him on the floor. In their next exchange, Musashi is able to completely overwhelm Retsu's weapon with his skill and speed, actually taking it from him. In response, Retsu goes for a low kick that Musashi is once again able to dodge, proceeding to actually hand over his weapon to Retsu, starting their next exchange of Retsu beating Musashi up a little more and once again dropping him with a kick, meaning if Retsu wanted he could have actually killed Musashi here. Regardless, he returns the sword and waits for the monster to rise. Musashi throws his sword away and approaches Retsu, trying a grapple that results in Retsu blinding him with a swing of his hair and another direct kick landing. However, this time Musashi does not fall and holds onto Retsu's leg, proceeding to swing the master like a sword, smashing him to the ground like he did against Baki. However, Retsu remains on his feet but appears to be unconscious, at least until Musashi drops him again, allowing him to awaken. Continuing their fight, with Retsu still getting outplayed, as Masashi blocks all of his attacks and sends him flying. It continues with Retsu taking Bucky's stance and Masashi taking one of the weapons from the middle. He charges with one thing on his mind, cutting. It hits, but Retsu is able to counter with Zhao Li, partly due to Masashi not going 100% for the full cut here. Regardless, Retsu hits this crazy counter and drops Masashi once again, with this one really hurting him, so much that he's actually struggling to get up, giving Retsu the opportunity to go for a follow-up attack, which unfortunately ends in disaster. Masashi countered and has begun choking Retsu, then fully binding him. This would have been pretty much his defeat, but Masashi decides to free him and right away goes for the next swing. Retsu tries the technique again, but has failed and succeeded. Masashi intended to kill Retsu with this attack, but the damage was only shallow. As such, the technique worked again. Retsu charges and Masashi swings with the clash, sword vs flesh, which will win. Miyamoto changes things up, setting him up for the final slash. Retsu has been defeated and killed in this battle against the legendary Masashi. Next we have the entire Riot Squad pulling up on Masashi, and then he has a kendo match which doesn't play out in the way his opponent expected, with Goki arriving seconds later with a handshake. I think we know what comes next. Masashi is stunned and put on his back, followed by Goki landing a direct punch for what he did to Retsu. Next we have an imagination slash gaining Goki's attention, and then the next exchange having Masashi come out on top. Once Goki rose again, he offered another handshake that resulted in quite a few imagination cuts, concluding their fight. Now it's time. Yujiro pulls up on Masashi, tanking the imagination slice like nothing, getting praise from Masashi right away, continuing with more flexing until the real fight begins. But first, make sure to subscribe for more Bucky content on the Mysterious Weeb YouTube channel. Yujiro begins by holding onto Masashi's blade and landing a direct blow that sends Miyamoto flying. The ogre continues to hold onto the blade and swing Masashi around. Then the legend gets more serious as Yujiro continues to hold onto it until he is eventually swung away. This leads into Yujiro unleashing his demon back, not destroying his shirt however, a little strange. Regardless, he was able to dodge Masashi's follow-up, but not the next attack. Masashi's blade reaches Yujiro's neck, but was stopped short by the ogre, who proceeds to land the iconic nut shot to drop Masashi, resulting in him to discard his sword and reach the next step of evolution in his two swords under Heaven style, charging and doing light cuts on Yujiro. Then the next attack, we have Motobe jump in front of the slash meant for Yujiro, ruining the fight, with Yujiro proceeding to beat up Motobe until Masashi stopped him, concluding their exchange inconclusive as they proceed to go for a walk and talk. Next we see Pickle fight this Giga Crocodile that Masashi ends up seeing on the news and destroys the TV as a reaction, requesting to face him. It begins with Masashi waking him up via imagination slices and Pickle beginning his charge, ending with Masashi slicing him with his swordless style. Pickle tries to counter with a kick but fails to land, resulting in more slices to land. Pickle takes his iconic low crouching stance that hits Masashi directly and leads into the test of strength between the two, with Masashi using the wall to bounce and land a headbutt to drop Pickle. It continues with Pickle thrusting Masashi off of him, but the full fight occurs at a later time. During the prep for the fight, Gaia pulls up on Masashi and gets outplayed right away, and seems to continue with every weapon and approach Gaia takes, Masashi completely stunning him with imagination slices, ending their fight. Now once Pickle is fully hungry, Masashi arrives and the fight begins, that being Miyamoto stopping Pickle's charge with his sword. Strangely, he does not slice through him due to the thickness and might of Pickle's muscles, allowing him to land this blow that sends Masashi flying and face down on the ground. It continues with Pickle now having the sword and being the one swinging. However, he gets outspared with Masashi targeting one of his eyes and reclaiming his sword, now beginning the cutting. Masashi begins to taunt Pickle, which worked and he got what he asked for, Pickle taking a bite with the cost of a deadly slash landing from Masashi, which leads into his transformation and another charge that once again doesn't end well, the cutting being very brutal and Pickle being perfect for Masashi, as due to him being simply built different, he can stop the flow of blood from the cuts, meaning our sword boy can cut to his heart's content. This results in Pickle to view Masashi as this scary bug and no longer have the desire to eat him, proceeding to run for his life into the arms of Motobe, who is here to protect everyone from the legend. As such, Masashi vs Motobe begins. We have Motobe blinding him to land a follow-up slam, and another to send Masashi flying, now chilling together for a little bit until Motobe attempts another eye attack, and then bang. Motobe is going in with everything he has, blowing Masashi up, pulling out his most trusty weapon to give Masashi quite a beating, trying to take his sword but can't even make it budge, with Masashi giving him a few options for his death. Guess what our GOAT Motobe chose? The one and only Old Age. It continues with a new weapon that is sliced up, but Motobe always has the combos. The Knuckle Dusters are out now and doing damage, but Masashi still lands a slice, and another taking out one of his hands. Continuing next with his legs, meaning the fight should be over, but Motobe doesn't stop. Tackling Masashi, headbutting and getting the master into a rear naked choke, using his teeth to hold the destroyed arm in place, getting stabbed but continuing his hold until it's over. Motobe has defeated the legendary Masashi Miyamoto, confirmed by Masashi himself, while keeping in mind that Motobe could have been killed at many points throughout that fight. Next we pretty much have Masashi going on a massacre of randoms, the police, just doing what he loves, cutting. He gets electrocuted but continues the chaos until the police approach Hanayama for his assistance. As such, Masashi vs Hanayama is next. Take a look at his smile here. It begins with the almighty build up that left Masashi stunned, and then bang. He flies, getting picked up like an animal, and here comes the next punch. This time being blocked by the blade. However, he's facing Hanayama here. That does not stop him, following through with the strike that lands directly and continues with the sword being stuck in his fingers, unable to be reclaimed. So Masashi decides to use his other sword and begins the slashing, which doesn't get Hanayama's attention, who was just trying to return the sword at this point, throwing it at Masashi full speed and continues with an uppercut. This time it is dodged and countered with various slashes. Of course, this doesn't stop our beast, continuing to advance and lock hands with the legend, overwhelming him with his insane grip strength, followed by grabbing his entire face and pinning him down, forcing Masashi to go for a lethal spot, resulting in Hanayama's boys to come in and bandage him up, with the help of Baki as well. Then it continues. Hanayama begins his build up again, but this time Masashi knows better and stops him with a slash, and more when Hanayama doesn't stop, leaving him on the ground and Masashi approaching to end his life, stopped by Baki, who threatens the legend, ending Hanayama's fight and setting up the final of this arc. Baki vs Masashi begins on the street but is delayed for now as the underground is being set up. They face off after some time, with Baki throwing a kick to test him out and Masashi doing some imagination cutting, followed by his own kick. Then a charge that is countered by Baki's clean combo, dropping Masashi, revealing that this was much more than first expected. Even a legendary nutshot was snuck in there. The next exchange has Masashi outplay Baki, with them reading each other's minds and movements. As such, Masashi is able to block all of Baki's attacks, and now is unleashing his swordless style, also unlocking the goaded attack, the nut shot, which he lands on Baki now. Our protagonist follows up with his next combo that also fails. Even the flying kick isn't enough, getting smashed, resulting in Baki to start imitating Masashi, Well, kinda, as he proceeds to throw the sword at full speed, and like always, Musashi just catches it without thought, but this time it was used as bait for Bucky's follow-up, leaving him on the ground again, showing that Bucky had the chance to actually kill him. Regardless, it continues with Bucky swinging the sword that is stopped by Musashi, with this being the end of their fight. You may be asking why, let me explain. Pretty much because of this, the removing of his soul from his body by the mouth of Tokugawa's sister, the one who put it in there at the start of the arc, meaning Musashi is currently no more. The body, however, is kept intact, meaning he can always return according to Tokugawa. That's pretty much everything, all of Musashi Miyamoto's fights in the Bucky series. The other videos in the series are here. The next arc following the Musashi arc fully explained. Shout out to these mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But that's it guys, peace.